It's the new film by Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws. It's also about the year's hot movie subject, science fiction, a subject made hot by the popularity of Star Wars. Close Encounters is about an encounter between a whole bunch of Midwestern folks and a genuine, unidentified flying object full of beings from another planet. The UFO is first picked up on the scanning equipment at an air traffic control center. Well, that pilot may not want to report a UFO, but there are plenty of other people in Close Encounters who are willing to file such reports. In fact, some of the folks are downright eager. They're not afraid of visitors from another planet. One such man is Richard Dreyfuss, a Muncie, Indiana power company repairman who first meets the UFO on a backwoods road. At first, he's terrified, and Melinda Dillon is most scared by the UFO when it terrorizes her home. But the spaceship's ultra-bright lights only delight her child, played by a charming 4-year-old actor. Unlike his mother, the kid loves the unknown. Another man who welcomes the UFOs and the alien beings is a French scientist played by Francois Truffaut, who at the end of the movie joins with other scientists to greet the visitors from outer space. It's a wonderful scene combining fantasy, adventure, and mystery, all tempered by love of the unknown. But before the end of the picture, I think that the story gets bogged down in a poorly written subplot about the government trying to stop Dreyfuss from getting near the visitors from the other planet. But I still like Close Encounters of the Third Kind very much. Its special effects are really wondrous. The UFOs knock me out, and the picture has an awfully nice message. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Seek it out.
And also stick it out if the middle part is a little bit slow, because the last 30 minutes, to me, are among the most marvelous things I've ever seen on the screen. And another thing about that first encounter between man and the creatures from outer space, if you think back over the last 30 years and all the flying saucer movies that we've set through, we always treated the people in the flying saucers as if they were Russians or Chinese, and we had bombs and guns to greet them. And this time, we just greet them with open arms. It shows a very interesting change in attitude.
It's also a change from a lot of recent very popular pictures. You know, Exorcist, the whole point was scaring, sort of abusing the audience. Jaws, scaring, frightening us. This thing is sort of, what's mysterious is unknown, and we love it, rather than running from that shark or running from the devil. So it's a special kind of picture.
You feel good at the end. It doesn't have the horror or the monster or the thing with 16 tentacles or the Spider-Man or something. It's the same as Star Wars, which is a war movie. Going to look at it in a second. There's a lot of shooting in it, but somehow nobody really gets hurt. It's more like a kid's picture, more like Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers in its innocence.
I think that a good guy cast in the lead here is Dreyfuss, who is sort of boyish and is charming, is enthusiastic. I think he's perfectly cast for the film, as he was in Jaws, the other Spielberg film.
You know, Gene, a lot of people keep asking me, and I'm sure they've asked you too, if Close Encounters is another Star Wars. Well, no, it isn't. The only thing the two movies have in common are flying saucers, but the big success of both films shows once again how strong science fiction is at the box office right now.
And we both highly recommend Close Encounters of the Third Kind, especially because of its wonderful special effects-filled ending.
Next at the movies, the magic of Spielberg continues with Close Encounters. Now let's look at what in many ways is still the most ambitious movie that Steven Spielberg has ever made, Close Encounters of the Third Kind from 1977. This was definitely a movie that combined everyday American life with a wild flight of the imagination. It starred Richard Dreyfuss as a suburban guy who started getting these strange compulsions to build little mountains out of his mashed potatoes and leave home and go to a place where he was sure something wonderful was going to happen. And here's a scene that contains one of the most famous single shots in any Spielberg film, the first moment when we realize that perhaps mankind is not entirely alone in the universe. Ordinary things making for a very extraordinary moment there. For me, that shot where those headlights, or what we think are headlights, come up from behind and then go straight up, it's really a great moment in the movies. And every time that I see that with an audience, everybody just, kind of catches their breath when they see that happen. That shot was probably relatively simple to do, but it contains almost as much of a sense of wonder as even the climax of Close Encounters when that immense and beautiful mother spaceship appears over the top of the mountain. The shot also contains something that is childlike in its simplicity, the idea that even in this very real world, not everything has to happen exactly the way we expect it to. Close Encounters is a movie that Spielberg has never really finished with. Even after it became an all-time box office hit, he went back to it and added some more scenes taken inside the spaceship, changed some of the earlier moments of the film, and brought out what he called the final version of Close Encounters. And my guess is that someday we're going to get a whole Spielberg movie devoted to what happened after that spaceship left Earth with its human passengers.